All right, we are live. We just got back from the gym, and let's make it happen. I was just reading about what was I reading about? I think Signal. Yeah, right. So Signal on Twitter, he just posted about how Slack is. He was talking about what are some products that he should add to his stack, and by the way, this fan is very distracting. Wow, it's a very subtle sound, but I don't know why it's very distracting to me. But anyways, so he was talking about what are the products, what are some software products that he should be adding to his stack, and someone said that do not think about Slack. Slack is anti-productivity. So let's look into it. Let's look into it. It's pretty cool how now that we have a massive screen, I'm literally like looking over there. I'm like looking like this. Earlier you were just looking at once in one direction and your eyes are moving, but now your neck is moving. And that is very interesting. By the way, do we have some pump? We have some pump. We met some friends and they were like, hey, you look big. So that's good. All right, anyways. Many people believe Slack causes a loss of productivity due to its constant interruptions, overwhelming volume of messages. Okay, this is true. Um, I think when I was at my startup, I had this one buddy who would be responding to every single message. He was always on top of things. He would be always responding to everything, and I'm like, this is adding so much pressure to me trying to do the same. You are good at it. I don't know why you are good at it. I don't know how you're good at it, but that doesn't leave any time for me to think. That doesn't leave any time for me to deep work, and I just inherently hate that. Like I just hate meetings that um, don't lead to anything. They're kind of wasting a lot of time, just a lot of coordination effort going on, and people are not actually doing deep work. Um, Same goes on with Slack messages. Sometimes people are just like talking about ideas and brainstorming about ideas within the thread, and there's like too much stuff going on. Everybody's like writing for what it's worth, FWIW, and I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? Like people are just like talking about random things over here, not making any decisions, and people are just talking. And then it is so much pressure when everybody's talking and you are not talking. And I think I got to a point where I started saying to my manager that, hey, I'm not going to attend any meetings, any extra meetings. That was good. But I think, yeah, it's hard to do. I mean, I never did that with Slack because Slack has just become such a big standard. It is the standard for a startup. If you're in a startup, Slack is the way how you communicate. And looking at those notifications numbers, like 100 notifications on my Slack, that icon or whatever they call it, the point, the red point, as well as as well as as well as just on my phone, that is too much. That is too much. But anyways, people who want to do deep work, they are definitely mad about it. Overwhelming volume of messages and the pressure for instant replies, which disrupts deep focus and lead to context switching that slows work. Key reasons behind this perception: frequent notifications and interruptions. Slack's instant messaging features can create a stream of notifications and requests throughout the workday, causing users to repeatedly shift their attention away from tasks. Research shows it may take anywhere from 8 to 25 minutes to regain focus after interruption, and users might switch tasks every 40 seconds, eroding their ability to do deep work. Overload of channels and messages. Users are often part of multiple simultaneous conversation channels. For some people, for them, work has just become something like, they just want to have fun. So what has started happening is like there are like meme channels and there are like channels for doing work stuff and all that extra things going on. And yeah, that is a problem. That is a problem because then people feel like, am I missing out? Am I not involved? Am I not like part of the team bonding experience? And it's very interesting, right? Because employers want you to be bonding with team because that is a retention mechanism. The better relationships you have at work, the more chances are that you are not gonna quit work. You're not gonna quit work. And if you are a good employee, that's what the employer wants. The employer wants you to build such deep friendships with your colleagues that you never think about leaving work. So employers do want you to be part of the meme channels, the extra all the extra meme channels on on Slack. By the way, can I change? Can I change video while we are live? Oh yeah, I can. Okay, this looks better. Alright, good. Nice. Although channels and messages users are often part of multiple simultaneous conversation channels, making it difficult to keep track of information and priorities. This can result in decision fatigue, overwhelming important threads, or ideas getting buried. Pressure to respond instantly. The real-time nature of Slack fosters a culture where employees feel the need to respond immediately regardless of their workload or time zone. This always-on pressure increases stress and hampers thoughtful, focused work. Context and app switching. Slack contributes to more frequent switching between tools and conversations, with many workers spending significant time each day toggling between Slack, email, and other apps, further reducing productivity and focused work time. Performance activity versus real work. Some argue the problem is not just Slack itself, but workplace cultures that measure activity, being seen, working, responding to messages rather than meaningful output, promoting unproductive communication. Somebody Slack's design prioritizes rapid, ongoing interaction, but for many teams, this disrupts workflow, impedes deep work, and can actually reduce both productivity and well-being if not managed deliberately. I think this is actually a very interesting perspective, like where employers do want you to be active. They want you to look active. I had a very interesting insight today that I had an experience 2 years ago, and during that experience, I was thinking about work. I was thinking about my goals at work, and that made me feel really good. That I really care about my work. I really care about my work, and I think that made me feel really good. That I really care about my work. Yeah, even though I'm not I want to do that. Even though I'm not really active in Slack, I'm not responding to every messages and blah blah blah. The fact that when I had that deep experience and I'm thinking about work, I think that made me feel really good. That hey, I care about my work. I actually want to grow. I actually want to do good things. And somebody Slack's design prioritizes rapid ongoing interaction, but for many teams, this disrupts slow, impedes deep work, and actually reduce both productivity and well-being if not managed deliberately. How can Slack distractions be minimized for better? Actually, so this is kind of the problem now, that do I want an answer? Do I want an AI answer? Or do I want opinions of people? And opinions of people are more entertaining. They have interesting insight. And I think, yeah, we want that. We want more of that. Often criticize Slack for reducing productivity due to several interconnected issues within its design and usage patterns based on various analysis articles and user discussions. Here are primary reasons. Constant distraction from notification. Real-time messaging and push notification create frequent interruptions, pulling users away from focused tasks. I also want to ask if, okay, this is really good, that has significant increase in backlash towards Slack post Salesforce acquisition. Okay, this is a very interesting question. Like, has Slack been, because Stuart Butterfield, he was really focused on design, he was really focused on user experience, making a beautiful experience. So for him, he definitely talked about Slack in a different way, that hey, we are the one with more, we care about the user, we care about the user experience, we care about blah blah blah, and that is the differentiator between us and something like Microsoft Teams. But I'm curious, like, has anything happened since the Salesforce acquisition? Has there been a significant increase in, let's say, optimization for revenue, which has led to more distractions? Real-time messaging and push notification create frequent interruptions, pulling users away from focused tasks. This leads to fragmented attention, makes it harder to maintain a flow state, essential for deep work. Nice. We're talking about flow state over here. Slack is truly awful for productivity. It's oh wow, no, 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 no. Go back, go back, go back. All right. Slack is truly awful for productivity. It's designed to both disrupt flow state and promote impulsive ideas instead of well considered proposals. I don't know how so many people have been bamboozled into thinking it's a replacement for email. Large growing contingent of managers who load Slack and find it distracting for employees. I just thought of an idea. I was talking to my dad and I thought of an idea. So we need to make it happen. We can't just not make ideas happen. All right. Really cool. Really cool. This is it. This is it. We gotta. There's something I was talking to my dad, and we want to do more of this, which is now we have this channel. We have this channel, and when I say channel, I don't just mean YouTube channel. We have this like medium. We have this medium through which we are meeting, through which we are connecting with people. So now it's my cousins, it's my sister, it's my dad, it's my friends, it's my best friend, it's some of my other, like, let's say, business partners. So this is very interesting now because when we went to New York, we went to this party by Andrew Young, one of the tech mixers by Andrew Young, and there I met very interesting people. We met Kate Cassidy, we met a lot of interesting people, and now the goal is to bring everybody together in this one place. So because I know that I love this, I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna keep creating content every single day. I'm gonna keep live streaming every single day. It's pretty good to stay connected with people. It's just like how people have newsletters, that you have this newsletter, you keep putting out content, you keep collecting people's email addresses, and then you are like, okay, I'm gonna keep sending you a monthly update, a monthly investor update, or whatever. Similarly, now every live stream is an update that, hey, what is going on? What am I interested in? And this is a great way to stay top of mind and keep building those relationships. And I think social media is the best way to do this. Like, I really like long form content because through long form content, you can actually talk about things that you're interested in, intellectual stuff that you are interested in, intellectual conversations that you would like to have. And my goal is also to have more and more of these conversations where, let's say today we are talking about Slack, how Slack is ruining work, right? It would be very interesting. Like, I'm starting to do this a lot where I will first start by giving. So I want more and more interesting people to start sending me other interesting sources towards me, and then we can make this conversation more rich, where we are now constantly in the zone of creation. We are constantly in the zone of creation. We're constantly thinking about, okay, what's next, what's next. This is another perspective, this is another perspective, and that will make things really cool. Yeah, that is really cool. That is really cool. This is a medium for me to stay in touch with other interesting people that I come across. All right. Large growing contingent of managers who load Slack and find it distracting for employees. The thing that made it addictive and a fun experience is also its greatest liability, similar to FB. Unsustainable. It's like they need a time well spent team to change the trajectory. How Slack ruin work. Context switching, information overload. Flow state. This flow state thing is really important. Maintain flow state is essential for deep work. I like the chat-like interface encourages compulsive checking, similar to social media, which exacerbates this problem. Context switching, information overload. Switching between Slack conversations, apps, and actual work drain cognitive resources as the brain takes time to refocus after each interruption. The flood of messages often All right, beautiful sun. We're getting beautiful sun now. The flow of messages often irrelevant or low priority creates slack holes. Very important ideas get buried in noise, leading to lost follow through and inefficiency. Long threads can also give a false sense of progress without real outcomes. Leaders under growing pressure to justify headcount and performance, but if the team's work is happening in Slack, it's likely locked in DMs and one-off channels. That means no visibility, no metrics, and no credit. Very interesting. Promotion was shallow, impulsive communication. Slack favors quick, reactive exchanges over thoughtful, structured discussions, which can prioritize impulsive ideas instead of well-considered plans. The lack of structure makes it poor for non-real-time collaboration. Or, actually, this would be an interesting question. What is a what or which is a big company? Is there any big company? Is there any big company that is known for not using Slack for its distracting nature? Okay, that would be a very interesting question. Slack favors quick, reactive exchanges over thoughtful, structured discussions, which can prioritize impulsive ideas instead of well-considered plans. This lack of structure makes it poor for non-real-time collaboration or knowledge management, as conversations aren't easily searchable or archived long-term. It also imposes a cognitive tax by forcing users to categorize messages before sending, stifling natural dialogue. Makes it poor for non-real-time collaboration or knowledge management, as conversations aren't easily searchable or archived long-term. It also imposes a cognitive tax by forcing users to categorize. The curse of premature optimization. Forcing structure on ideas too early kills creativity. The chaos of a quote reply stream is a feature. Quote reply stream is a feature during brainstorming, allowing for unexpected connections. Slack's model demands order before ideas have been formed. Interesting. Why is quote reply Discord bots is superior to Slack's also send to quote reply? Wow, I haven't used Slack in a long time, so I forgot what quote reply meant. Why is quote reply superior to Slack's also sent to channel model for professional communication? A thread on chat architecture, cognitive load, and why the market has chosen a clear winner for dialogue. Very interesting. The two models have different goals. Quote reply intuitive fast is for communication. Slack's two-parent model high effort is for structured information. It's the difference between a conversation and a filing cabinet. Slack's model imposes a continuous cognitive tax. Before you can even type, you're forced to act as a librarian. Is this a new topic? Okay, now I get it. If you are in a thread, it's about do you want this text to only stay in thread or also send us a new message in the channel? Very interesting. I think this is the reason why yeah, that's a problem, right? Ideally, if you are doing some important brainstorming, you should be having all the people live and talking through it. This is something I found when I was building this dating startup with my buddy, where ideas, when you're discussing about things, it's not about just discussing about the things. It's not just about the words. It's about the interpretation of those words. It's about the emotions behind those words. Why do you want that? How much of a priority is that for you? A lot of things are behind that. So I just quickly realized that I shouldn't be just messaging him And instead of messaging, I was like, let's send voice notes now, because voice notes are much better, because now I am when I send you a voice note, or I hear a voice note from you, I get to hear. And especially if you're brainstorming, which means that idea is something we are trying to understand. This is not an order, this is not an instruction, this is something we are collaboratively trying to figure out. And that is when you want free flowing conversations, because this idea hasn't been, yeah, because you are trying to structure something which is not supposed to be structured. It's a creative flow that you want to get out, but you are forced, when you're writing, you're forced to put everything into words. And just like what is happening right now, like I'm saying something, I'm trying to comprehend something. It's a totally new idea that I'm trying to talk about, but because it's a totally new idea that I'm trying to. Wow, it's really cool. Like, this is very meta. I'm talking about something that I'm also trying to do. But anyways, yeah, you're trying to put structure to some. You're trying to premature optimization. Basically, I think that's the best way to say it. It's premature optimization. You're trying to put something into structure that is supposed to be creative and that is supposed to be very broad and supposed to be explored a lot. You are trying to exploit something even before it has been explored. Yeah, that I think that's a better way to say it. But this is really cool. The curse of premature optimization. Slack's model imposes a continuous cognitive tax before you can even type. You're forced to act as a librarian. This friction stifles the natural free-flowing speed of human dialogue. Yeah, ideally you should be doing this over. Ideally, if this is a space where you are really exploring an idea, you are supposed to be giving it all the space to explore. Even just putting that into words and sending that to the entire team, there's a lot of pressure, there's a lot of cognitive tax that, oh, what are people going to think? I need to make sure that it is written the right way and all the grammar is right, and I'm putting out all the emotions and even my priority, that, okay, do I even really care about what I'm saying right now, or am I just like adding a new perspective? So very interesting. Forcing structure on ideas too early kills creativity. The chaos of a code reply stream is a feature during brainstorming, allowing for unexpected connections. Slack's model demands order before ideas have been formed. Market dominance is proof. The overwhelming. I think what Kirill is saying. Actually, I can't figure out if Kirill is a men or women. I think that's women. Okay. LLMs, data privacy, marketing, quantum, PhD, music synthesizer, hackathons. I'm currently focusing on explaining marketing content to SOTA LLMs. Okay, interesting. Yeah, really cool. Market dominance is proof. The overwhelming global preference for code reply is an accident. It proves users, including an enterprise value tools that aid dialogue, not tools that force documentation. Usability wins. When is Slack's model useful? When the goal is to force the separation of conversations into discrete components, it's analogous to developers creating a component architecture in software, a deliberate high effort task for future clarity, but it's building a knowledge base rather than free form communication. It also imposes a cognitive tax, extension of work hours and Slack fatigue. The always on nature blurs work life boundaries, with users feeling compelled to respond outside hours, leading to burnout and reduced total output. This fatigue stems from unhealthy team norms like expecting instant replies, which amplify stress and morale issues. Product bloat and lack of discipline. Over time, Slack's added features, integration boards have bloated the core product, degrading its original simplicity while requiring user discipline that many teams lack. This can lead to unnecessary messages or distractions like memes, prioritizing ease over meaningful work. While some defend Slack for reducing emails or meetings, the consensus among critics is that without strict usage guidelines, its benefits are outweighed by these drawbacks, especially in remote or fast-paced environments. While some defend Slack for reducing email or meetings, the consensus among critics is that without strict usage guidelines, its benefits are outweighed by these drawbacks, especially in remote or fast-paced environments. Quick thoughts on software corporate bloat. Whoa, these are not quick thoughts, but this is cool. Okay, the Slack effect, meetings are decreased by 30%. Teams are able to make decisions 30 to 40% faster. Megan Quinn, investor, builder, board director. on the road. Whoa. Trying to make da 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 proud. Okay. Slack reduces email and communication stress by moving inessential communication out of email, creating an experience in which it is impossible to keep up with those messages and therefore mainstreaming bankruptcy declaration for those messages. Bro, I don't understand what he just said. Moving inessential communication out of email, creating an experience in which it is impossible to keep up with those messages and therefore mainstreaming bankruptcy declaration for those messages. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Quick thoughts on software corporate bloat. I just saw this on Slack today. What is that? Templates. Get work started faster with templates. Okay. It's been there for weeks, but our mind has been trained for nearly 20 years to assume 99% of what is shown to me on a screen to be noisy garbage and or useless and or trying to get me to pay for something. Huh? It's been there for weeks, but my mind has been trained for nearly 20 years to assume 99% of what is shown to me on a screen to be noisy, garbage, and are useless and are trying to get me to pay for something. Slack introduced some Kanban board plus Notion-like features to the software. There's a profound rot in most companies that grow quickly and reach some stable point. Naturally, investors, leadership, the market, and culture dictate that you must keep growing. So you start diversifying, adding features that have no correlation to your core offering and to why you're even there in the first place. You pack more features, pack more gadgets to justify price increases or attract new potential users or satisfy idiots who don't understand what you build. Meanwhile, the core product degrades. The thing that people actually use every day, the thing that matches the reality of users. I think this is very interesting. This is something that I used to talk about with my buddy, which is like, you see this in companies. You'll see this in companies that sometimes there are some really smart people, and if there's an environment where a lot of people are really active on, let's say, Slack, and they are talking and they are shipping and they are really good at it. Some people are really good at it where they can do their work and they can also be really active on Slack and make sure every message is responded. And then there are some people like me who are good at work who want like just to think about work, and they are not really, I'm not really good at like responding to every message that needs my attention, or no, everybody who wants me to reply, right? So that is very interesting. And then it creates pressure because I clearly know this one person, and she now was in this pressure to show everybody that, oh, no, I'm working, to show to people that, hey, I'm working. And how do you show that you're working? By you keep on like sending messages on Slack. And also, this is like one thing that I want to say. And the other thing was that sometimes when you hire people, just to justify their role, they end up creating more work. So you don't really need this person in your team. But now that you have hired this person, you have to create work for them. What are they going to do all day? So then you create unnecessary work that is not really adding and making things just complicated. Like, yeah, I think this is really important. That's the reason why I always wanted to make sure that before getting the monitor, I'm just making sure that the work is important. Like live streaming, we built a lot of solid foundation for last 10 months before we bought a monitor, which is crazy. Like, I also think it's pretty good because for 10 months, we kind of like made sure that while we are on the road, while we are traveling, this is something I love. This is something I want to do. This is something I can see myself keep doing. And I can see like how this keeps on going. And that is more important than making sure that you have all the gadgets and you have a very complicated system. It's important to keep adding things. Yeah, it's like bulk and cut. You kind of go through phases of bulk and cut, but you also really want to make sure that everything over there is essential and nothing is there that is just complicating your system. Very interesting. It's almost unavoidable for companies that follow traditional paths, raising VCs, etc., or when they don't really offer anything especially unique. Oh no, we missed this one. The thing that people usually actually use every day, the thing that matches the reality of users, most of the time it works for a few years, maybe a decade. Then they die and disappear. No one ever really seems to actually learn from this. A lot of time the people who made the company are either long gone or they stop caring, never. And so the masquerading can stop and you can fully focus on squeezing money barely. Yeah, so this is our question with the Salesforce acquisition. And yeah, I'm curious, like, what is happening to, like, where is Stuart Butterfield? Is he still a VP at Salesforce or has he exited? And so they bloat and kill the company with the long term in the process. It's almost unavoidable for companies that follow traditional paths or even when they don't really offer anything especially unique outside of being first to do it better, other factors leading to having a large mind share, or when they don't truly have leadership that cares. I think it's interesting because nothing would stop Slack for shipping Notion clone by Slack or anything like that. But investors and leadership is too narrow-minded and must do things now. Just do things. Let's grow. We should add Notion and AI, but God forbid we do it the right way. Slack is valued at $25 billion. The software has constantly gotten worse, changing for the sake of changing, bloating over time. People stay, some people leave, more people join, and nothing really matters because no one really care. But there's literally one objective truth that the biggest companies show: prioritizing garbage, perceived value versus long-term user experience always loses. Sure, I think this is so interesting. This is so interesting because it starts from the employees, right? If the employees or your smartest software engineers are thinking that, okay, I'm going to spend 2 years at Slack, 2 years at Notion, and then I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to, like, just like Avengers, I'm going to keep adding everything to my, my gauntlet. That is going to show up in everything. If your employees think about that, if your employees think about your product like that okay, I'm just here for the next 2 years just to get equity and just to get my paycheck and also just a Slack brand name, and I'm going to exit to a different company, that shows up in your product. They are not committed. They are just there for metrics, and that shows up everywhere. That shows up to the top. That shows up in the product. People stay, some people leave, more people join, and nothing really matters because no one really cares. But there's literally one objective truth that the biggest companies show: prioritizing garbage, perceived value versus long-term user experience always loses. A little bit of grammar needs we need to work on a little bit of grammar, but okay, sure, maybe you made a few hundred millions on the way, but you lose the long term. You lose long term because you don't focus on shipping the absolute best products that you know people wanted, because you betray and bastardize the ideals you probably never even held off what the company's goal was about. And some lines are beautiful. Hey, this is beautiful. This reminds me of Riva Tez. Like, she talks about, like, in terms of betray and bastardize the ideals, like, hey, chill, we're talking about tech, but it's kind of beautiful when you bring interesting emotions to talking about technology. Sure, maybe you made a few hundred millions on the way, but you lose long term. You lose long term because you don't focus on shipping the absolute best products that you know people want, and because you betray and bastardize the ideals you probably never even held of what the company's goal was about. Sorry, I just typed this all out because I got triggered by this fucking ugly icon and the stupid fucking pop-ups that appear everywhere I look to tell me they released yet another piece of shit in my chat software. This is a really longer version of saying put the fries in the back, but I feel like expanding on the rod and why it happens a little bit. These are not especially interesting takes because most people already know and feel like this, but help me God back to work faster. I work at a big corp, and this is basically it right here. All of it is because people care more about perception than product. They aren't there because they love the product. They are there because it's a career and they have bills to pay or want to move up the corporate ladder. So everything is a show. Everything is an image. Everything about, look at this project I did and how successful it was based on a KPI with a big number and new revenue. None of it matters. All of it ends up changing out or disappearing the moment the next big has a product. This reminds me of Basecamp and how Basecamp has a Slack competitor, which is literally like one-time buy. You buy it once and that's done. And yeah, like it's like a one-time purchase, which is very interesting. It makes me think like, yeah, like people with AI now, people will start either moving to these kind of products, very indie products, or they're going to start making their own. They're going to be a constant supply of indie products that are really good, very specific, not very specific, but specific to your use case, or something which is quickly, like people can quickly understand that, okay, what is the notion around, let's say, this new product? What are some problems? Let me quickly make something and give to this very niche market. Or if you are capable enough, then you can just make a very specific personalized product for yourself. None of it matters. All of it ends up changing out or disappearing the moment the next big wig has a product. They decide it's their golden ticket, rinse and repeat. Just like I said, core product decays. It's also tiresome, immensely real. A minority of users will love these features, and these users will keep buying a product forever because of it, but majority will see it as bloat. Not that simple of a calculation. Slack makes money out of corporate deals to get Slack access. There is zero company with more than 1,000 seats using Slack as their Jira Notion replacement. Interesting. All right, I think we got everything off around this. Has there been a significant increase in backlash towards Slack post Salesforce acquisition? Oh wow, yes. So this is very interesting. Like even though Perplexity gave us interesting answers, Grok definitely wins over here because Grok wins over here. So I think again, this is a balance. There's a balance between using Perplexity and Grok. There's a fine balance between using yeah, there's a fine balance. There's a fine balance. You cannot just go all in on one product. Like yeah, we I started loving Perplexity again, but you cannot just put on Perplexity. You have to keep finding what everybody's good at. Perplexity is good at images, giving me images. I love that. Um, yeah, Grog is really good at giving me opinions of people. Like look at this. This was art. What Ludwig said was art. It was what Ludwig said was art. It is not something that I'm expecting an AI to say. It is something that I'm expecting Ludwig to say. And those were some very interesting ideas. Not many people AI, even though AI will give me that, I'm not gonna be that excited about it. Slack holes. That is really cool. Slack holes. How Slack communication affects workplace productivity. First off, what is a Slack hole? Great ideas lost amidst a sea of other messages and notifications without any follow through or plan action. Simply lost within Slack, never to be seen again. Or maybe someone does think about it again, but they have no idea how to find it or what to search for. Can happen when an employee has an idea they don't want to lose, but also don't have anywhere to put it. Do they draft a formal email to the superior, or do they pop it into Slack and hope someone sees it? If an employee goes the formal route, there's a strong possibility they will need to stand by it and be held accountable for follow through. It's not that the employee is lazy, but it's a lot easier to suggest an idea than it is to make that idea reality. Dropping the idea in Slack channel is easy, but there isn't any accountability. And it's not only ideas that get lost in Slack. Even with the search function, it can be tough to remember what channel conversations happen in or how to search for what you're looking for. Plus, only this is where AI comes in. That's where AI comes in. You want all your conversations to be on AI. You want your AI to be trained on all the conversations. Plus, only the first 10,000 messages can be viewed or searched when using the free version of Slack. We're not here to dunk on Slack. Our team uses Slack and we love it. We even build a predictive index app for Slack. We leverage Slack for team building and communication that absolutely needs to be real time. This just reminds me like some people are really optimizing on Slack. Well, there are some very interesting personalities on Twitter who have made Twitter their Slack, because what they are basically doing is they are constantly putting their ideas out there. These are individual people. They're constantly putting their ideas out there and they are communicating with everybody. All their customers are on Twitter. That is the main area where they're getting all the feedback. So very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. Wow. You are using Twitter as your Slack because you are an individual, you are kind of an influencer. Like the person that comes to your mind is Zach. Zach is building Aura, and Aura, the new running app, and it's very interesting for him. Customer feedback and all the influencers that he's working with, partnerships that he's working with, everything is on X. That is very interesting. And I'm guessing he would, yeah, that is very interesting. Very interesting. Whenever it's Slack for team building and communication, that absolutely needs to be real time. Will be employees having time for defocus, and that is what companies lose when they let Slack proliferate in their organization. It's the main method of communication that's always on. Less email, but more distractions. Problems with Slack communication. Faster communication is not always better communication. Rapid fire instant messages, which are perfect for getting an answer faster, continuing a conversation, but that speed isn't always ideal. Faster communication isn't necessarily better. Always on, rarely working. The ever presence of Slack makes users feel like we have to respond in real time. This can lead to getting stuck reading and participating in threads that don't actually result in any real work getting done. It can also make off time more difficult to find since Slack conversations happen constantly. How to make Slack less distracting. Understand the different Slack notification types. Okay. Interesting. Slack hole was good. Productivity pit. How Slack is ruining work. We had it over here. Anyways, we'll go back. Perceived declines in product innovation, cultural mismatch, pricing charge changes, integration issues, and shift towards Salesforce's enterprise-focused priorities, which some users feel have diluted Slack's original agile. Also, when you look at Salesforce, just think about it. Think about it. When someone has this big fat tower in the middle of downtown San Francisco, the most expensive city in the world. Not the most expensive, but the most relevant city, let's say, in terms of tech in the world. You got to somehow subsidize for it. So you got to keep changing your prices. You cannot just be like, hey, I want to make it sustainable. Let's make enough profitable. You got to make a lot of profit. You want to make a lot of margins. Some users feel have diluted Slack's original agile user-friendly ethos. While Slack faced competition criticisms pre-acquisition, post-acquisition complaints have amplified, particularly on 23 internal culture clashes and 25 price hikes. Leadership exodus. Wow. Strong cultural clash between Slack's collaborative startup-like environment and Salesforce's more corporate sales-driven structure. League 23 all-hands meeting where employees expressed frustration on Salesforce's influence on Slack's operations and decision-making. Cultural rift with Salesforce. Outgoing CEO, okay, Stuart Butterfield has left Slack. Dissatisfaction about Slack's position within Salesforce. 136 billion public company with more than 70,000 employees. There's a strong culture clash between Salesforce and Slack. How did we get here culturally? How do we move on from this? And how are the remaining Slack leaders? How can they help us stay in touch with our Slack core values within Salesforce that seems to disregard so much of those values? He wasn't very successful integrating the two cultures. The problem has been there's no incorporation of the Slack culture into the Salesforce culture. And unless there is some element of that, then it's not integration in any sense. It's just elimination. Plans last one to leave Slack, which he founded in 2009. He's being replaced by longtime Salesforce executive Lydianne Jones, who was also at Thursday's meeting with Slack staffers. Separate all-hands meeting Thursday for the overall Salesforce organization to address the 10% company-wide layoffs. Known for its flashy conferences and over-the-top marketing for enterprise products, purchased Slack for $27 billion at the end of 2020. A string of high-level executives have left Salesforce in recent months, including co-CEO Brett Taylor, as well as Butterfield. With a new boss set to take the reins at Slack, big opportunities for the business, introduce new managers, and console employees about the difficulties of going through layoffs. Salesforce Financial Health, Slack's role within the broader Salesforce business, potential reorgs, and plans for office space, including Slack's main corporate office in San Francisco, which is separate from Salesforce offices. We shouldn't be concerned about going out of business anytime. Wow, very interesting. High-profile departures. Personal reasons like fantasizing about gardening, but analysts linked it to integration challenges. Wow. Fantasizing about gardening. Schmafia. Let's see. What is Stuart Butterfield doing these days? All right, we'll come back. We'll let Grok go on that. What do we have? Declining user satisfaction and product quality complaints. Review platforms show a pattern of dissatisfaction post-acquisition. Holds a low trust score of 2/5. Wow, I'm really happy that I stopped using Slack. I was using Slack for this one community I was running, and obviously I didn't pay for Slack because that is just too much. And you also, it's like proper investment. It's a proper investment, and I think I just have a problem with locking all my conversations into one app. Yeah, not really happy about that. Low trust score of 2 by 5 based on over 300 reviews. With common grievances including buggy performance related messages, poor support for older systems, intrusive ads introduced since Salesforce takeover, permanent ads blocking functionality, and dishonest sales reps linking these to Salesforce's influence. Wow. Okay, it's rated poor. While pre-2021 review data is limited in the results, post-acquisition feedback indicates a spike in negativity around usability and bloat. For instance, X-Users 25 describes Slack as having so much bloat and becoming hostile to real work with vendor lock-in, while data restrictions blocking third-party tools like Glean from accessing Slack data. This contrasts with pre-acquisition praise for Slack's API and extensibility, which users say have gotten harder over time. I've been dreaming about this. I've been a fan of Slack since 2014, worked there, and I still stand by that it is a foundational product UX, but it died when it got acquired by Salesforce. Oh, wow. Oh, Brexton. Building software engineering agents. Co-founder. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. One of the best things about Slack in the past was being able to build on top of it, but it got harder and harder over time. Annoyance is agent first version of Slack that keeps the bare metal of what makes Slack great. Sign me up. Congrats, Gabrielle. Wow. Building Pager.team open source AI team chat and open whisper open source AI dictation. Will dig my teeth into this over the weekend. Wow. Slack killed our business overnight, so we built a competitor. Very interesting. Slack killed our business overnight, so we built a competitor introducing Pager, an open source AI native Slack alternative. Import your entire Slack history in one click. Self-host or bring your own API keys, and yes, you still get channels, threads, and emoji reactions. And the best part, because we built this in 2025 and not 2015, AI agents are at the center of the product, not an afterthought. Free to try today or book a demo, and I will onboard you myself. Wow. Holy. Oh snap. Congrats on the launch. Pager. Open source team chat with AI that boosts productivity. AI that learns from your conversations. Chat that is clean, fast, and yours to run however you need. Okay. And this is open source, so that is very interesting. Drafts, general product engineering, demo support. Bex is the agent. Okay. Keeps trying. Who can I speak about integrations? You should speak to Zach, the integrations team, read about integrations. This is really cool. This is really cool. And I think that makes sense. It's like less bloat. It's very less bloat when you are built from the ground up and you are open source. Yeah, and you don't have the Salesforce, what do we say? You don't have the Salesforce salespeople, sales executives who are constantly trying to sell you stuff. This is very interesting. We'll retweet this. Or we should quote tweet this. We'll quote tweet this. Who owns the ad service? Your AI that knows your team. Summarize product channel for the last 4 days. Current blockers for the mobile app. Oh wow, really cool. All mentions of the data migration. Just explain quantum computing. Sources everything, gets smarter, knows when, understands yesterday, last week, 3 days ago. How different teams use Pager, product engineering, customer support. New person join, nobody explains what does what or why things work this way. Who does what, sorry. Who handles authentication, get names, context, history instantly. Something breaks. What deployed this week, see everything, see every change and who made it. Making decisions. Why did we pick Redis? Find the actual conversation from 6 months ago. Customer calls back. What problems has Acme had? See every ticket and conversation. Very interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting. Okay. We'll just repost. Retweet has a different ring to it. How do we fix login errors before sales? How does the API handle rate limits? Demo goes off script. Get the real answer, not a guess. Old lead comes back. What do we pitch? Tech Corp. Old lead comes back. See every email and call note. Writing proposals. Ask what made enterprises buy. See exactly what worked before. Connect everything. Answer automatically. Take action. Make a Notion doc. Okay, so you have Pager and Slack. Sorry, Pager and Notion working together. What's in the roadmap? Make a Notion, take action. Make a Notion doc from your chat. Add notes to Salesforce automatically. Huh. So you're still using Salesforce. Interesting. I think you should have just built your own CRM. You should definitely build your own CRM. This is the first thing that people like. Remember All in Pod? They were like the first product that's going to be killed right now is Salesforce because, yeah, CRMs are very interesting. Create tickets with all the context, simple pricing, no BS. You host, free forever. Your server, your data, all features included, community support. Everything in you host, plus we handle the infrastructure, all that AI that loans from your team's conversations, priority support. Enterprise, chat with us. Stop renting your team chat. Own your data, train your AI. Leave whenever you want. Try it free. Wow. I'm not sure if Slack will Slack allow them to just pull all the Slack data in one click? I'm not sure about that. Okay, backlash. Buggy performance, blah, 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 blah. Usability and bloat. Having so much bloat, becoming hostile to real work, vendor lock-in. Contrast with pre-acquisition praise for Slack gotten hot over time. Yeah, so this is why we're looking at Brexton. Pricing increase, perceived value erosion. Pricing to expand AI features, agent force integration, but this drew criticism for raising cost amid underwhelming growth. Let's look at Slack website. Oh, it says where work happens. Be less busy. Where work happens. Share it, discuss it, get it done, side by side with the agents. I believe Slack's website was way better when Slack was Slack. Wow. I feel there has been a significant downgrade. Like, even this, look at this purple color. This purple color is not very aesthetic. Wow. Share it, discuss it, get it done, side by side with the agents. Stripe, IBM, Paramount, Target, OpenAI, GM. Bring your people, projects, apps, and AI agents together. Collaboration, project management. Agent Force. Slack AI. Whoa, what's the difference between Slack and Agent Force? That's like confusing. Communicate. Like, why is this purple color so unaesthetic? 80% of Fortune 100 use Slack Connect to work with partners and customers. Communicate in countless ways from one place. Slack Connect is cool. Slack Connect is really cool. Like, if both the companies are using Slack, then you have now a channel to connect with the other team. So in general, Slack is gonna, like, people are gonna have a hard time moving away from Slack now that they have totally bought in and now that all the conversations are in. But if something like Pager keeps happening where people are really fed up with Slack and they now see options where with one click they can move to this new product and the communication keeps becoming easier and easier between organizations, and it's open source and that entire ecosystem keeps developing, I think there's going to be a change. Tap into the tools you already use. Okay, do more with AI that works where you do. There's an AI agent for everyone in Slack. The most innovative companies run their business in Slack. OpenAI. Spotify. RE. Why? Why has Slack become less aesthetic? Don't just take our word for it. 700 million messages sent daily. Daily workflows active. Okay. Very interesting. Staggering market share against competitors like Microsoft Teams. Steadily declined post acquisition, with Salesforce customers showing little adoption of Slack as an add on. Slack was absolutely right to sell the Salesforce. They didn't close to their peak market share. Wow. Wow. Daily active users. Wow. Salesforce has no working strategy to position Slack or to compete with an office suite like O365. Churn and market perception. Switching to alternate due to the dissatisfaction. Slack POC and redirecting millions in potential spend away from Salesforce. Cultural shifts and ESG concerns. Microsoft Teams dominating and Google Chat gaining ground. Volume and timing. Pre-acquisition discussions on X and Y results were largely positive, focus on growth potential. Market impact. Valuation user metrics have underwhelmed. It may never catch up with Microsoft Teams. Caveat. Not all feedback is negative. Some users appreciate integrations like Salesforce channels. Oh, if you're a Salesforce MVP, you're obviously gonna say, okay, anyways. $37 Signals Basecamp, right? They built their own thing. Anti-Slack are real-time chat apps. In their writings and policies. Fostering interruptions that kill deep work and productivity. He argues that constant pings create attention residue where employees lose focus, switching context, and the chat apps prioritize reactive talking or meaningful progress. Instead, they rely on their own async focused Basecamp tool. No after-hour messages, minimal meetings, and structured check-ins to minimize distractions. Highly influential in tech and remote work circles, having shaped productivity philosophies for thousands of companies through books like Rework and It Doesn't Have to Be Crazy at Work. Interruptions are the enemy of productivity, emphasizing in tools like Slack exacerbate this by demanding immediate attention. Really cool. AG and Smart. Design Sprint and Innovation Agency publicly announced in 2024 that they were ditching Slack, along with Notion and Asana returned to Basecamp after a 4-year hiatus. Default screen for employees leading to constant distractions and a culture of talking about work rather than doing work. This aligns with Basecamp's influencers. Courtney credited Jason Fried for convincing him to make the switch. Vice Media. Google Chat. One of the primary reasons was cost reduction and financial pressures. Internal discussion noted reduced distraction as a side benefit. Simpler interface led to less chatter, though it has since downsized. Okay. To reduce cost and position ourselves for a bright future. Whoa. Replaced in Google Chat. Very interesting. Broad enterprise shift to Microsoft Teams. Wow. Walmart, Goldman Sachs, GM, Chevron avoid Slack in favor of Teams bundled with Office 365. Okay, that makes sense. Some discussions highlight an unintended productivity boost. Teams clunkier UX makes people try not to use it, leading to minimal, less distracting communication compared to Slacks. So it's like your product is so good that it is distracting, and Teams is so bad that it's less distracting. This is so funny. This is so funny. Okay. Try not to use it. Less distracting communication compared to Slack's engaging, addictive design. Everyone abandoning Slack. Microsoft itself Slack internally for employees, but the reasons are security, IP protection, competition, promoting teams instead, not distractions. Okay. Maintained relatively low public profile. He has not taken a new executive position or founded another company, aligning with the stated desire at the time to spend more time personal pursuits, gardening, and reflection. Angel investing in early stage tech startups, leveraging his experience as a successful entrepreneur to support emerging companies. Recent investments: July, participant 200 million raise for Lovable. Unlimited in public records. Very interesting. Stuart Butterfield. May 6th, invested in Unblock 20 million funding round. Developer platform aimed at improving software engineering workflows. Contributed to Neo Financials 50 million Canadian. Okay. Canadian fintech company offering banking and credit services. 15 companies primarily in enterprise applications, fintech, and developer tools, though exact details on all investments aren't publicly exhaustive. Tech community discussions, occasionally sharing insights on industry trends like AI, remote work, has been active on social media platforms like X since before 24. Canadian billionaire. All right, he's from New York. Vancouver, right? Canadian billionaire with an estimated net worth over 1.5 billion from the Slack sale resides in New York and Aspen. Meeting overlord. He's married to Jen Rubio, co-founder of Away Luggage. Oh, wow. And they have children. Away Luggage is actually good, right? Yeah, I've seen Away Luggage. It's really cool. Away, Monos. Pretty good. Really cool. Very aesthetic reasons to get away. One of the best luggage brands in the world, 24 Reader's Choice Awards. Really cool. Okay. No major public announcements of Réponse Rapide. Oh. No, I don't want that. Semi-private phase was certainly backing innovative projects. New developments emerged. They would appear tech news outlets or investment trackers like Crunchbase. Let's look Crunchbase profile. Yes, Cloudflare. Verify me. Stuart Butterfield. Number of portfolio companies, 30. Number of exits, San Francisco. Mail number of exits, 6. Wow. Okay. Lovable. Unblocked. Neo Financial. Series D. Series A. Not AI. Unblocked. Linear. Wow. Panomi Bacteria. Humans. Modern Loop. What is Humans? HRIS employee management software and modern distributor teams. Okay. Interesting. Okay. That's a stream. But wait, what was this? Ask me about Crunchbase data. Wow. Crunchbase has a bot. Crunchbase has an AI agent. New investments by OpenAI. Let's see. Crunchbase Scout. Generating plan for new investments, identifying the organization, OpenAI, searching organizations on Crunchbase filters. So OpenAI, the reason I search OpenAI is because OpenAI is making just a bunch of investments in little startups. So this would be interesting to see what it comes up with. Searching for principal investors with filters. May make mistakes and is not legal, financial, or investment advice. Okay. I was like, it's not legal. Okay. Too long. Can't wait. Okay, we'll talk about it next time. But anyway.